I get concerned here when we say be selfless, don't be self-seeking. That's antithetical to the spirit of capitalism, right? The way I've framed this in my mind is like, I want everyone to be as self-seeking as possible, actually, up to the limiting principle of other people's person and property, basically. That would mean you are pursuing your self-interest to your greatest ability without violating the person and property of anyone else, which would mean you are being a very successful entrepreneur, frankly. You're creating a lot of value in the world that benefits others. It is selfless, but it's done in pursuit of your own individual self-interest. And that's why I think that property relationship is so important. The stronger we can make it, the harder we can make it to steal or violate property, the more wealth and abundance we can create through pursuing our own self-interest. It's kind of a paradox because there's two ways to acquire wealth in the world, right? You can make something valuable or you can take something valuable from someone else. If we make taking as expensive or risky and difficult as possible, then people are left with only the making option. So then in pursuit of their individual self-interest, they're actually maximally improving the collective interest by making things of value, right? Being an entrepreneur. And that's where I think, something like Bitcoin is so important because it makes property very hard to steal or violate. So you're creating an incentive for people to be more productive and cooperative rather than confiscatory or violent.
Yeah, if you think about capitalism rewards those self-interests, those who are the least selfish. Mm-hmm. Meaning they're not violating their own self-interest. And I don't think necessarily that's what Scripture teaches. But they're using their own self-interest in subservient to the needs of others. Mm-hmm. So if you look at like Amazon, why is it the biggest company in the world, or one of them? It serves the most people at the cheapest costs, gets it there within, I was telling my wife when we were in Hawaii, people use AliExpress. Did you use that in Hawaii? Because apparently you get it quicker because it's in the middle of China and the U.S.
I didn't know that.
So basically you can go to AliExpress, good personal finance.
Amazon is slow in Hawaii.
Good tip for personal finance from the financial quarterback here. AliExpress will sell the same crap that Amazon sells for like 1/10 of the cost. Because it's just going direct from China. My wife goes, well, I like that, but I really want it within 2 days. So you have a choice. You want the cheapest, go to Alibaba, one of the top 10 biggest companies in the world. Or you want it fastest and moderately inexpensive, Amazon, also one of the top 10 companies in the world. And you buy it on your iPhone, which, if you think about it, to have, people have said this, your phone, a computer, a Walkman, a TV, back in the day would probably cost like 10 grand.
Yeah.
To have what this has in the palm of our hands today.
Yeah.
In effort, Apple and Jobs, when he created it, were very selfless because they were thinking about what is the user experience. Now, they were selfish. They were self-motivated. It was capitalistic. I'm not decrying that. But I also think that's because we don't have a thought process of property. I think you're right on that. We don't even view... I remember, I went to public school. I don't remember having classes on property.
Yeah, no.
And
I don't.
Inviolable rights. What did Ketanji, Ketanji Brown Jackson say? That she was questioned. Now there's debate. Was it due to Ted Cruz asking it or whatever? But it was a good question. Do you believe certain rights are inalienable? And she said, I do not know. I mean, this is someone who's going to probably be on the Supreme Court of our land. Not knowing about inviolable rights. That's scary. But at least she's truthful, because probably many of them believe what she believes, but would say otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, even there, we're back in the territory of useful fictions, right? The idea of human rights. It's like, and this is a great point too, that to have a right, the flip side of that is it's someone's responsibility, right? If you have a human right to 3 hot meals a day, well, who's the chef? who's going to pay and prepare for those meals, right? Rights and responsibilities are two sides of the same coin. So when we get into this territory of inalienable human rights, I mean, I guess, anarcho-capitalist argument is the only human right is choice, right? You get to choose in any situation, like how you're going to respond ultimately. But I don't think things like, even something like freedom of speech, right? We think that's an inalienable human right. It's like the idea, inalienable meaning, by the way, that you can't trade it away. That's what it means. You can't alienate it from yourself. The only thing you can't alienate from yourself is the ability to choose and respond, right? Even if I say, hey, Josh, I'm going to give you all of my future responses for the rest of my life, like I can still choose to not at any time. I haven't alienated that right from myself. So I think it's interesting, though, because then people get, especially more of the social justice types, are like, no, we have a right to a home and a right to a meal and a right to, you call me my pronouns or whatever in the world. But it's like, whose responsibility is all that? You can't just by fiat say, sorry, there's a little gnat on this mic. You can't just by fiat say these rights exist and that somehow that manifests or summons the satisfaction of the responsibility into reality.
Well, inviolable may have been the question. So I'm not, I may be using inalienable wrongly. But I do think the right of property, take the pronoun issue, it would make it irrelevant. Someone wanted to be a they or whatever you want to be, as long as each person in society is respecting the other's property,
right? We
can exist and coexist having many different belief sets. So I do think a lot of it stems on
I agree.
inviolable property.
And that's Ayn Rand, man. Like, and that's why I get the selfish thing too. She has this whole essay, The Virtue of Selfishness. But then she gets too far off the deep end where it's like she's anti-Christian almost. And it's like, you can't throw out the foundation, because like the reason she lived in a peaceful cooperative society with private property rights and all these things to be able to pen such a thoughtful essay is because of that Judeo-Christian substructure.
And because others were selfless. Meaning there was a time when somebody bled so that we could have this right to disagree.
Right.
Not, and I don't mean it in the normal sense of.
Yeah.
I just mean there were people, founding fathers or whatever, broke away from Great Britain because they didn't want to have the king telling them what to do.
Yeah.
And then we've traded that for more kings, but, you know,
yeah,
slightly better than the alternative.